Welcome to 7 Keys to Success in the AKT. Today we're looking at number 6, revise all the high yield topics. So what are high yield topics first of all? High yield topics are topics that appear frequently in the exam, that examiners have highlighted as weak areas from candidates in past exam reports, that examiners have highlighted as important in previous examiners' reports, and after every single exam, when the results come out, shortly after that, the examiners from the RCGP, they publish a report where they will talk about how many people sat the exam this time, how many passed, what was the pass mark, what was the pass rate. But then, if you look through, it's usually 3 or 4 pages. If you look through, they will cover what are some of the topics that people didn't do well in, what are some of the topics that are important and they're glad that they did do well in, but the fact that they highlighted them suggests that they're important. And usually in each examiner's report, out of the 200 questions, they'll highlight about 8 to 10 topics. Now, they don't just give you a checklist. You have to read through all of this. Okay. But if you make sure that you've covered those, and an easy way to do that is after every examiner's report comes out, I update the eMedica high yield topic checklist, where I've actually read through all of the examiner's reports since the very first AKT exam, and I've analysed which are the topics that get mentioned again and again and again, because these topics are frequently examined. Okay, if you make sure you work through that checklist, and you can download it, I'll pop the link below. Make sure that you actually have covered all of these. You can't just learn these because, of course, you've got the whole curriculum to get through. But this is a really, really good thing to focus on in your last couple of weeks. You know, revise your stats, revise your admin. We covered that recently, right? Why that's so important. But then make sure you've ticked off everything in this high yield checklist, all of the clinical topics here as well. Because if you miss the pass mark by a few marks and you hadn't covered these topics, you're going to kick yourself, because examiners are telling you we're going to put these in the next few exams, because these same topics get recycled again and again and again, and the examiners are trying to help you to make sure you cover these important and weak areas. Another important aspect to revising all the high yield topics is to be efficient in your preparation, is don't waste time covering low yield or zero yield topics. Now, how do you know which things are never going to come up? There's a really important rule. It's called the 4-nation rule. The AKT is a UK exam for general practice. It's not an England only exam or a Scotland only exam or a Northern Ireland only exam or a Wales only exam. So if there is anything which the answer would be different in any of the 4 home nations, they cannot ask it in the exam. So an example of a zero yield topic, something that can never come up, is learning which patients in England do not have to pay for prescriptions, who are exempt from prescription charges in England. The reason that can never come in the exam is prescriptions are free for everyone in Wales and Scotland, so they're never going to ask that. Do you see? It just can't come up. Similarly, they're not going to ask you anything about the specific details of the quality and outcomes framework anymore. Why? Because QOF has been abolished in Scotland for several years. Or there's no point learning about the details of clinical commissioning groups. There are no clinical commissioning groups in Scotland, in Wales. This is an England thing, okay? Because in Scotland, in Wales, in Northern Ireland, we have local health boards and health boards rather than CCGs, all right? So, don't waste your time learning things that are specific to one nation within the United Kingdom. It's a UK exam, all right? Now, there are some things where there are some bits that are different, but there are some things that are common to all 4 home nations, and they're important topics. Those are still going to be tested, but they're going to test the things that are common. So just to recap, number 6, revise all of the high yield topics. Go through the high yield topic checklist, make sure you've ticked off everything, and don't waste time learning things that are not going to come in the exam. Do join me tomorrow for the last one in this series, number 7, which is focusing on exam technique and how that can help. Thank you.